So, we have arrived back in Mongolia 16 years. 16 years ago. Is that right? 14 years ago. I was last here. I bought a gun here and had it confiscated in Vietnam. I also got trapped in Seoul Airport because I refused to give my fingerprints and they wouldn't let me in the country. So I had to buy a overpriced flight there in the transfer terminal at the only desk, which happened to be Vietnam Airways. And I happened to have a visa because back then we needed a visa for Vietnam because I had planned on going to Vietnam. So back in Mongolia, definitely scammier. The thing is, coming from China, everything is so perfect and orderly, and everyone is so nice, and no one scams you. And I don't think it's because of fear. I just think Chinese people are really nice, and it's not even because they have more available to them. Like, I've met some really poor Chinese people, and actually, but a stereotype broken. Asians obviously very proficient at math. South Asians, mathematics, Koreans, Japanese, Chinese. But so many people in China, like just regular people, just couldn't calculate. Just they couldn't do basic arithmetic, and I was getting like overchanged so often it became noticeable. Very weird. So yeah, Mongolia. It's been a crazy day already. I'm just sat in this guy's taxi. I've been in his taxi now for like 3.5 hours, and he's just this is his house. He's just taking me on a tour, I think, of his house, of like all the things he needs to do in the town. We waited in the town for ages for other passengers. There's no one here. I arrived at the border. That was an absolute fucking nightmare. Um, I booked a hotel at the border last night, which was actually quite unnecessary. And got up this morning super early, had the shitty free breakfast, and then just was there for like 3 hours in this fucking village, and no one was going anywhere other than the border. But then if you go to the border, you have to get another car. I didn't realize you could actually walk across this border because nearly every border with China now, it's mandatory to take transport across. So I just assumed that would be the case, and it wasn't. But still, I didn't want to have to go to the border and then get another transport to the nearest town, and then from the nearest town to bloody Hovd, and then Olgi, where I wanted to go, which I can't make that tonight now because it's what fucking time is it? It's 3:20 already. So to make matters even more annoying, I rarely do this, but there was a good deal, so I prepaid for my accommodation in Olgi. And then I just found out the really expensive place that I wanted ideally to stay at for like 2 weeks, but it was just out of my budget. Is like 40% off for some reason. Maybe it's because it was so expensive. No one was obviously booking it, and now it's 40% off. So I could have literally just booked that for 2 weeks in the town that I'm going to go to tonight, which would have been the transit for the place I wanted to go, which was further on. Which interestingly, Olgi apparently, and this whole area of Mongolia is populated by Kazakhs who are becoming more and more prominent because their birth rates are skyrocketing, like in Kazakhstan itself. And I didn't realize the Altai region in China that I've been using as a transit zone between Kazakhstan and Mongolia was a part of Mongolia in 1972. And the Mongolian government just signed it off, which is again another example of like divide and rule. It wasn't a war. It was whether this is objectively implanted within standard historical narrative is irrelevant. This is the reality. They didn't want Kazakhstan having a border with Mongolia because of the similitude between the two cultures, which leads to like larger allegiances. Larger communities are more difficult to quell, which is why they slice and dice everything across the world, whether it's on race, sexuality, gender, or whatever, religion. Same as with Tibet. Tibet borders Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, China, obviously, and that's why you can't go there without a permit. And that's why it's so important to not allow that location to have sort of freedom of access because of it's again similitude to so many other cultures in different countries. So really fascinating. In fact, I'm going to be googling that. 1972, China just took a load of Mongolian land, creating now the divide between Kazakhstan and Mongolia. I didn't even know they used to be joined so recently as well. Crazy. And by the way, haven't even checked that it's 1972. I was just told by a very affluent Mongolian in the vehicle to the Chinese border that was the case. So yeah, crazy weird day. 3 hours. 3 hours I've been waiting now. 3 hours I was waiting before I got to the border, and then the guy that picked me up happened to be a homosexual Kazakh Chinese man, and he was just driving me around in circles for like 45 minutes, trying to talk to me and obviously asking me weird questions. And I knew the moment he asked me, like, do lots of people drink in the UK? Just the way he was, he was obviously gay as fuck anyway, but like the way he was typing, I thought he was going to say like, oh, they like gay bars. Eventually, it got to the point where he said, "Oh, you are so handsome," like a Filipino sort of scenario, or like a Bangkok Thai lady scenario, Thai boy, lady boy. That's the one. So that was really awkward, and that's also when no one else got in our car. So in the end, he just drove me all the way to the border, which was like 20 kilometers for £3, making a financial loss just to have me in his car, which is just so fucking weird. So yeah, and then got to the Mongolian border. It's back to Scamland, man. They all scam you. Everything is about like ripping you off, which, as I said, I haven't had in such a long time. Prices are just exponential, and I just knew I was getting scammed. And then some French people arrived, and because one of them's a lady, they were able to just hitchhike with the Russian truckers for free all the way to Khovd, which is like £25 journey. So they saved 50 quid between them, which is pretty good. But that's the advantage when you're a woman, even if you've got your boyfriend with you or your male friend, there's two truckers, one got in each truck. Like, Russian truckers driving through Asia probably for like months on end get to sit with a woman that's white from their sort of like, racial profile for like 8 hours. Of course they're going to say yes. Fucking hell. The advantages of being a woman. So, yeah, that's basically the gist. Really like the landscapes thus far. It's really nice. This part of Mongolia there's more mountains and trees and lakes, which is why I'm going there. A lot of central Mongolia is pretty bland, but that's the general gist. And unfortunately, I have to do a load of admin for 2 weeks, which is shit, basically, because I had my phone stolen in Urumqi, so that's sort of like preventing me from doing loads of stuff for like 5-6 days. So I've sort of got to mess around now, being dull, if I ever leave, because this guy has now been, like 40 minutes just in his house. He just went in with ice cream. He's taking the piss a little bit. Like, it really does annoy me. They're really like cunty. I haven't had it in a long time. Like, imagine being in the car park at the custom station and asking every single Mongolian there, like 24 people, in Mongolian and in Russian and in Chinese, on voice and in writing, so there's no excuses, what's the price, like how much, just generally, like how much does stuff cost? And they all just refuse to tell me the price, because they're all in on it to like fuck over tourists, because a lot of the people make their money here from like driving back from the border, so it's all like an agreement that you get to fuck the tourists. And it's so dishonest, such a fucking despicable cultural habit to have. So yeah, everyone has just tried to fuck me. I'm paying definitely over for this, not much, which is fine. It's not terrible. The online estimate, although you've got to take that with a pinch of salt, 40 to 50k like a year ago, which is like a tenner. But then you've got to realise, like, it's £10, and then we're in Mongolia. It's a 5-hour drive. It's 4 people in the car. It's $50. They do 2 runs a day. $100 for like a taxi driver when fuel is really pretty cheap. It's actually a lot of money for Mongolia. Like, there's people that don't make that on minimum wage in Western Europe, so you've got to like think about those things when you have to guesstimate the prices. But before I ended up in this town, they were trying to scam me, as I said, and they were trying to ask to go to Hovd 200 won without, including even the price to the border. So that will work out at like £23, and already, and I'm still getting slightly scammed, I'm down to 16 quid 50, which is pretty significant difference. And it should have been cheaper because they were in a 7-seater. I'm in a 4-seater with AC on right now. So yeah, I was just trying to fuck you, and in the end, like they just fucking left with a free seat because I refused to pay the scan price. It's just like so dumb. So I started walking in the blistering heat. It's like 40. I do have a hat, but I didn't. It's at the bottom of the bag. I didn't want to take all that shit out, and I don't use sun cream anymore because it's fucking poison. So I had this shirt on my head, and it always works. If you just start walking, eventually people like. Usually they respect you if it's a man. It's like, oh, this guy's fucking walking in the desert. I'm going to give him a free ride. And it always works. Always, always, always. And or people take pity on you. Or someone just stops thinking it's good business. So that's what happened. And the woman, I paid the normal price. I didn't need a price to the Bolgan. I paid her £4 for like a 25-minute journey. And then she like drove me to the ATM and helped me book this car, and I've only paid £2 over. It's not the worst, although it will be if I'm sat here any fucking longer. If we go back to the car park, which we've just been at for 2 hours, I'm gonna be so pissed because I also just emailed the place that had the 40% discount and told them they actually close at 5, which is crazy. And I told them like, oh, I'll be there by 9. Which, unless we leave in 30 minutes, is not going to happen because it's 5 hours. So yeah, there we go. I hope you could see the landscape through the Prius window, which is the most popular car here. They're all Priuses. I'll leave it there.